right now I've logged in on my webinar demo account. It is a live account. Your database will be hosted on Amazon Web Services. Amazon, pretty big company, very secure. It is an SSL portal. We are web-based only. What you're looking at here is the latest 10 work orders that have either come in or have been auto-generated. So we have PMs here by Maxpanda. So these are all requested by either guest portals or internal staff, maintenance staff. Now, you can break up your account in multiple sites. So I'm going to start at the top and explain what a site is, and then we'll move down to the buildings and the users. So this drop down here, as you can see today, Ben, we're going to stay in Maxpanda headquarters. So why? Because I know there's 15 to 20 buildings there. I know there's 20, 30 staff, etc. But what you're allowed to do with Maxpanda, and every price plan gives you a certain amount, like the starter is 5 more accounts, is you could create another site, for example, Sydney or New York. So because I'm the company admin, I can go to the New York site or New York account and review what work orders are in there. So that could be utilized as a separate either department or another totally different account for IT or housekeeping or whatever else you want. It's typically used for remote sub-accounts. Excuse me. So Maxpanda headquarters will stay in here. We'll pretend that you're just going to have one site for now. But again, you can create up to 100 different sites. Now, this is the list view of your work orders. Now, I am the company administrator. You don't receive this drop down in your account. It's only for training and webinar purposes. So I will be I'll stay mostly in the company administrative account today. That person has access to everything, and we'll explain what all the other roles are. These roles require an invitation to log in, create a username and password, and log in. So all that is self-managed through the user. Now, what does the typical work order detail contain? These are only the details. Number 1 is the work order ID number. The work order title is number 2. That is very important in Maxpanda. Clean air filter, it is a work order. That means it was submitted through the green button or the guest portal or the add button, or somebody scanned a piece of equipment or this location here, which has a QR code or a piece of the building, etc. So there's multiple ways that you can set Maxpanda up to bring in those work order requests, whatever department they're in. So it's also, so that becomes this work order title becomes the link in all the emails that go back and forth from the people who are either assigned, submitted the work order, completed, and approving the work order. So Dale, yourself, and maybe one of the staff members like Maxwell who's completing it, or it's in progress, this one, will receive an email. So that's the link in the emails. You click it, takes you right to the work order. It's also the push notification alert. Do you have an iPhone or Samsung? What do you use for a smartphone?
Everyone has something different.
Excellent. So the iOS app, it'll have those little bubble pop-ups, and you know, with the Androids, you've got that drop-down push notification pop-up. So you click it, it opens up GoMax Mobile. That's our mobile app, and it'll take you right to this work order, as long as you have, you know, the app installed, etc. So very, very quick to get to that work order right away. The next here is the type of work order it is. Now, all of these filters and drop-down menus are pre-populated for you, but you can expand and create your own, for example, your own categories. So if you don't have HVAC category, which I'm sure you do because you have a building, so you will have an HVAC or heating and vent air conditioner, but you do have vehicles. So I don't think, so if vehicle isn't in here, you can obviously upgrade or add it to the list here. Now, the type of work orders you can create and filter and report on are the work orders. Those are the ones that get submitted. Those are your daily incoming submitted work orders from your guest portal or all the users on campus. The next one is your PMs. These are preventive maintenance scheduled work orders. So those are daily, weekly, they're calendar-based, yearly, whatever permutation you want to create. But we also have the metering types. That, remember I mentioned about the your vehicle. So you can create a trigger per asset. So you can create triggers, templates, and add it to any piece of equipment. I'll show you that quickly when we get into our asset list there, and that's fantastic for facility management. The work orders that get submitted do have a reference ID. It's an open field. We are adding 2 more. Clients want 3 open fields, so we're adding them. They are stored and reported on as well, so use it however you like. Priority, we have a full SLA module. Now, it might be overkill to start creating different priorities. Like I've got an SLA 15 minutes, which is due in 3 days. So it's we automate your due dates per work order. When you first log in, you'll have low, medium, high, urgent. That's the default in settings. But again, as you can see, I've got different ones here, like 1 hour response. If somebody selects that when they submit a work order, it's going to email Steve every 15 minutes that work order requires approval. So that's the kind of trigger I set up. And your SLA is very powerful in the back end. But what I want you and your team to get out of today's webinar is how simple we make things look, how simple and easy the application is. The desktop is mimicking, the mobile is mimicking the desktop, same with the permissions and all that. And also the cost and entry point to get set up. So the next one is the categories, again, self-defined by you. Every one of our work orders are color-coded, makes it easy to understand where you are. If I click status button here, you'll notice I'm hiding certain statuses for these work orders. Because in Maxpanda headquarters, in this site, I think I have about 2,000 work orders. In New York, there's about 20,000, but the reason why I'm only showing 61 on my drop-down list here is because I don't want to see my closed work orders or canceled. Right. So if I do that, now I'm managing 975, and I hope you notice how quick that is. Again, you're on the cloud. Maxpanda is much faster than an installed product because we do utilize true cloud service. So once you close a work order, you really don't care to see them all the time, so why wait for any load time? So I basically hide those. Right now, I just want to see what's important and active on my account. So I do have 12. I brought them down to 12. It is a live search, meaning you can search all your work orders by due date, by completed date. So none of these have been completed, my 10 out of 12. Which staff and vendor are associated or assigned to this work order. So staff would be Dale's 3 to 4 part-timers and anyone else that he wants to add as a staff role. He will show you which building the work order is associated to and even the asset or the location. So everything is filtered automatically, and we help you get set up real quick using an Excel sheet. And I typically work with the client to make sure that Excel looks good, that room 101, yes, it is associated to the Russo building and you didn't make a spelling error. Once the data looks good, we'll upload it to your account, typically on a weekend or late at night when the servers are at their low peak periods. Any type of attachment you can think of, you can attach and upload it to Maxpanda's work orders. So whether it's an image, whether it's an audio or MP3 file, whether it's any Office document, whatever you want, even a message file, Outlook message file. We will show you your print count if you are printing work orders. Right now, because you're new to Maxpanda, you may want to start printing the work orders in the beginning before your team starts getting used to the mobile app. The mobile app is extremely simple to use, so it's sort of like an entry point into the digital space. So if you still want to print work orders, very simple. I can select all 10 of these right now by the box. If I press print, Maxpanda is going to print me off the full page work order for each one of these. So print out 10 pages. Now, each work order is about 7 to 8 digital pages. Right now, this is just highlights. So I can simply download the highlight data in a CSV file or screen print, just for a quick meeting as an example. I can edit any one of these work orders right on the dashboard. This is the list view, how we show you just a quick overview of your work orders. We also have a full drag and drop calendar. So if I select my calendar, you'll notice.
Excuse me just a second.
Oh, yes.
The screen print, what does it capture? Did you show just a moment ago?
It just this piece here. So if
That's what you visually see?
Yeah, just here.
Okay.
Because it auto fits onto. It uses the browser's screen print, but only the important stuff. So if I downloaded this screen print in that CSV file, this is what you're going to get, all the header information in a Excel CSV file without the header stuff there.
Okay.
So another way to print all your work orders is using the calendar. So the calendar again has all the color coded codes here, so you can see when you assign a work order to a staff, one of the 3 to 4 part-timers, or a vendor, and you do have contractors, right? Vendors that come in.
Right.
So they cannot close work orders, make them brown. Their job is to complete the work order. So you get notified. Okay, that job was completed. You can do an inspection or simply close off the work order or add, hours or an invoice or whatever. So I like the calendar a lot because we do show. For example, under work orders, we show this list here, future work orders. Those are your preventive maintenance routines. So these light blue ones, for example, today is July 6th. As you can see, Friday, I have a 1-day work order. So it's due at midnight, due by Friday at midnight. Now, what if it was a holiday? What if this was July 4th? I know I'm not working July 4th. So what I can do is I can drag and drop it to the 7th. And it'll reassign and apply all the due dates and start times for me. Or I can put it for Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Total resource management right from the calendar. Obviously, we show who's assigned to every one of these work orders. The work orders are extendable too. So instead of 3 days, I would bring this down to 1 day, etc. Now, go ahead.
When you have more than fits in that square,
it's
does calendar expand or what?
Yeah, so I'll go back to June. So this one here has 1, 2, 3, and then we just have a more here.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're all hyperlinked. Takes you right there. Another thing with the calendars, I can go future. I can go to August, and obviously they're all future PMs, blue colors in August. This is my world in July that just started now. We do have the print button in the calendar. So you can print the full page work orders for all of these right from the calendar as well. We have the weekly view in the calendar. If you're assigning work orders by the hour or half an hour blocks, they would be down here for the week. I don't have any right now scheduled for time or minute based. All my work orders are by the days. So this is 1 day, 3 days, etc. The work orders are filtered at the top. We can use the filters like I only want to see certain pieces of equipment, statuses, show me only canceled work orders of my PMs. Any canceled PMs? None. So I would never cancel a PM as an example. So you can utilize the filters at the top of the calendar as well. The other list view is obviously on the mobile app, but I can't show you that right now because I can't show you my hand phone. So who can see what in Maxpanda? Now these are I can see all of the work orders here, and especially if I click status, I can see all the closed, etc. That's because I'm the company administrator. We have a company editor, which is your second in command. Now this could be either yourself or Dale or somebody under yourself and Dale. Now, the company editor can go from site to site if you do set up different departments or different accounts, but the company editor cannot generate reports. So this shouldn't be you or Dale, because I'm guessing you both need to have reports. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Right. So
I mean, actually, I probably do most of the reports. Dale normally asks me to run them for him.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter, I guess, that way.
Yeah. So either or. We have unlimited users. That means you can have 10,000 company editors or one editor. Doesn't matter. We don't charge by the user count. We think that's unfair. Now, we also have a site admin site editor. Those people are in charge of another site that you want to maintain. So you could make Steve the site editor or site admin at the IT department. I would invite my own staff, create my own assets, equipment, parts, etc., schedules, totally different database. Now we have four levels of maintenance staff. We'll start at the bottom. We have the staff limited. And you'll notice when I log in, the menu is shrinking, and it happens the same way on the mobile app. Now, the staff limited, these are your staff that you don't want them to look at all of the work orders in the account in this site. They must be assigned to a work order. So you'll notice the calendar, it's my calendar, meaning, do I have any work orders assigned to me? So right now I've got one work order that was assigned to me, and my job is to complete it. Somebody reopened it. One of the admins reopened it. So I can submit work orders, but I cannot view the company's work orders. The staff unlimited, we do give them access to the view all screen. So if I click view all, because it takes you right to the to-do list if you're a staff and vendor. So on the view all, I can look at work orders that are, alive right now, and I can assign myself to them and complete them. So you know who completed them and at the cost. Now, the difference between your staff and your supervisors is the supervisors can actually close work orders. So I'm not sure if Dale in facilities has a supervisor, or he's just going to be the company admin with some staff limited and unlimited completing work orders. That can be discussed later on. We do have the submitter role. Remember, all these roles require a username and password. So the submitter now, as you can see, can only do two things. They can submit a new work order in the system, whether it's on the mobile app, whether it's on scanning a QR code or clicking submit button. But we also have the history. So as you can see, I'm one of your submitters, and I've submitted 34 work orders, and I can see the history. I can see, hey Ben, you rejected a couple of my requests. Some are still pending to be, completed and closed off, etc. I can update the notes, and you can update the comments. The text is read afterwards, so you can, follow through email if you want, etc. We have a tenant role, but you don't have tenants. It's the same as the submitter role. It just, every one of these roles, by the way, can be assigned to a building or to a location or to a department. So it's very, very flexible that way. We have two types of vendors. So you can invite your vendors as a limited vendor. This vendor contractor cannot submit work orders in your account. You assign him or her to a work order. Their job is to complete it. The vendor unlimited, you give them access. Notice the submit buttons there. So they can submit work orders. And that's great if you have, those roofing companies that do filter changes, or electric companies. If they have the mobile app, they can take a picture of something else, another issue, submit it to you. You can approve it, assign it right to them before they leave the roof, and the job can be done right there and then. So you have more eyes in the sky. Any questions on these predefined system roles?
The only thing is maybe an observation, just to clarify. The staff limited, staff unlimited, vendor limited, vendor unlimited, they appear to have similar functionality other than the staff is an employee, the vendor is a vendor. Does that make sense?
Yes, but the Staff Unlimited, they do see everybody's, like they can see all the work orders that have come in, and they can pick and choose which ones they want, auto-assign themselves. Okay. The vendors cannot, both of those. They can this one can submit work orders, but you still need to either, approve and assign it to them. Just because a vendor says, hey, I want to redo your roof, doesn't mean you're going to just let them go and do the roof, right? Yeah. So that there is a little bit of, yeah. And by the way, I'm going to send you an email with a link of all the permissions so you can see, yeah, you can print that out as well. Now, let's look at the, how do we bring in all these people? So under staff user list, we have an invited user. So if this was your account, Ben, and you want to invite me as a role, or you have a bunch of volunteers, so you have 5 volunteers, what is the role of these volunteers? We will make them staff limited because we'll just assign work orders to them. If you have one site or multiple sites, we'll bring them into the New York site, and you click invite. Now, if I click invite, each one of these emails, people will get an email with a hyperlink from your company. They click it, they create their username and password right here, and they'll have a profile. Once they have a username, password, they can utilize Maxpanda in different languages. We've done all the translating there. This is at the user level, not company. They can opt out of different email notifications. So when the notes and comments get updated, excuse me, there's another email that goes out to everybody. So if you don't care to get all these emails, you simply uncheck the box. So that's for email management there. Now, the last user I want to show you is the actual guest portal. So under sites, each site gets a guest portal. So I have 8 different sites. I have 8 different guest portals. Under guest services, and this might be simpler for you to get even your guests to submit work orders. Now, you'll notice all we request is you can turn it on and off. If it's on, you need a code word, and this is typically your company's name, and it adds it to a hyperlink here, which is SSL. And the guest portal allows you to customize the form and the data that you are making as a requirement or not. And you'll notice this link here, if I paste and go, it would have your logo here, and this would be your form. So anyone who finds this link from your website can create a work order request at the location. Notice I'm making locations a required field, right? So this is an IT department at the high school gym. My computer is broken at the high school, so you know where it is, or if it's an asset. And you can choose to show these lists or not. Now, this guest portal right here, if you click that, has a QR code. So I can actually I can print it with the name, download or print this QR code, right click, and paste it everywhere around campus, and anyone with a smartphone can read it. They don't need our mobile app. This is an open field. Questions on that?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Before we go into the menu, why don't we create a new work order right now? We're gonna we'll skip to number 4, and I will pretend I'm one of your internal staff, and I'm going to submit a new work request. And I'm going. So Ben, give me one of your most popular work order requests, or even Dale's.
The lock on Classroom 101 is not securing the door, or it's not locking, or something like that.
Okay. Excuse me. Now remember, whatever they type in here becomes the hyperlink and all the emails. I'm going to copy this and paste it later, just to save time. Reference ID. I don't know if this is typically used for our bank clients and our oil and gas clients. They all have these different reference IDs they need per work order. Category, what would you put this under as? Or Dale, would he create something called repair?
Probably.
Or, sorry?
Yeah, repair would be fine.
Okay, I'll put it repair. Now, this is our due date, so this is what obviously everybody in your company is going to say, or organization is going to want
Right.
one day, but let's do it 3 days. So what I'm doing is I'm assigning this work order. In 3 days, it has to be completed, either by myself, my staff, or a vendor. After 3 days, or midnight on the fourth day, it becomes red. And that's overdue. That's a no-no.
Okay.
Everybody gets email notifications. Dale and yourself will get emails. So you're always on top of the things that, go missing through the cracks. We will copy and paste things here just to
Sure.
move things forward. I can carbon copy somebody else, like a locksmith at abccompany.com. I don't know that person, so forget it. But you can carbon copy.
That.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Or
locate.
say Dr. Pat Head Skull.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Whoever
I'll
you.
let him know.
Yeah, whoever you don't want to invite into an account, because not every doctor is going to want to have an account with you and Maxpanda, right? So.
Oh, he's the head of the school. He's the principal. So
Oh, okay.
you want to know about the door latch not working.
Oh, okay. So he would be you could make them a company editor or administrator as well, or supervisor unlimited if you don't want them doing reports. Now.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. You're back. You're okay?
Yeah.
Now, this will be, I don't care about department right now. We know what building it is, so we'll just say it's at the high school gym. Oh, no, what did you say was room 101? Room 101. There we go. Okay, so instead of a school, I'm just going to put Sunset Hotel.
That's fine.
That's the building name. Room 202 is the room number, is the suite, it's the unit, whatever you want to call it. That's what we call. How we set up the filter types. So you'll notice as you select your building, we only show you.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if it would do that. So good job. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's also, if I type in S, for example, it's quick search, ST, SU, etc. So quick search there. Assets, I have 2 pieces of equipment that are assigned to that location, or by the location. So fridge, TV. In your case, it's just a drawer. We don't have it in our registry. I could take a picture. So as the teacher, I can take a picture of that broken lock and actually attach it to the work order and submit the work order. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going into a lot of detail. But obviously that would have taken me two seconds to type out and submit. Now, let's start from the beginning instead of, it takes me to the work order, but 2 things that have occurred. Let me go here, approved, pending. All right, and I don't care to see reopened ones. So 2 things that just occurred, Ben. Number 1 is we have a new work order on our list. And so now I'm either you or Dale. I'm looking at this. I also received an email and my phone buzzed saying there's a new work order to approve. So you will get notified that, even though you're off campus, you'll get notified. So let's go ahead and approve this work order now. It is a yellow pending work order. It is not a work order. We have to approve it. Turn it to green, that'll be a work order. We can, at this point, reject this work order. No way, forget it, right? And I'm sure you wanted to type that a few times. Am I right? No, just joking.
You're right.
Yeah. So now what we're doing here is priority. We're going to escalate this because the person, maybe the teacher said, yeah, okay, do it 3 days, but Dale or Ben know that this should be done today or within 24 hours. So I'm escalating it now, or I can put it to 7 days or 30 days. The person who submitted it is Steve. They will not see that change. Okay, so you can escalate or downgrade that. Today we're going to escalate it to 1 day. We're not going to approve it yet. We have a lot of details to put in. Now look at this. That simple form generates an 7-page work order, 7 different sections. So the first section is the details. Okay, we know what's happening here. They put in some extra notes. Now, if they add more notes here, it will turn red in emails and in print. So you know, oh, what they updated. You have a private notes section. This is typically for the maintenance department. So only your staff and higher up can see the private notes. So the submitter tenant and vendors do not see that. Comments is where the staff would put in any comments, replace, block. We won't do this now. We'll do it after. We haven't approved it yet. Any more information you want to add, go ahead. I didn't add a carbon copy. All of this is automated by clicking our status button. You do not need to timestamp it. The button will automatically timestamp everything to the second in your database. We're gonna collect total hours. We know who created it. We can add more files to it. Remember, I'm you or Dale right now. I know where the issue is coming from. Now, I can assign it to a vendor. I have about 50 vendors in this account, but you'll notice only one has come up. So I have a preferred vendor for this hotel or this building. We have vendor management that way, so you can assign vendors to one building or all your buildings or all your sites. So I'm going to assign ABC Company. They're the locksmith, for example. They will get an email. They will get a push alert. They will get a new My To-Do list. They will have this work order assigned to them. So it's their responsibility now to come on site with that printed work order and, you know, either confirm the job or don't know how well you trust your vendors, just let them go and do the job. That's the detail of the work order. We have a task module. If I click Add New Task, you'll notice I have 35 templates, task templates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, here's a school year-end review, parking lot. Here's a full checklist. And I also want the roof inspection report completed digitally, or if I print the work order out by one of the staff. So I'm adding two different tasks here. Each task can hold unlimited items to check off. So if I look at the roof inspection report, just so you can see what a task looks like, it'll have the details of the task, the comments that you want to put in. But if you add a digital task to a work order, it must be completed. All the details must be captured, completed, and then saved using the...
Now, what do you mean by digital work order and it must be completed? Would you explain that a little?
Yeah.
Something.
Right now, I added 2 tasks to this work order, correct? This is a digital environment. It's digital right now. Yes. But I can print the work order, and it'll print off all 20 inspection items that I need to check off. And so if you're printing them, we'll print all your tasks as well for you to capture the data. But it's obviously much easier for your staff to enter data on our mobile app, because whatever you do here,
sure,
like, yeah, okay, good. So
yeah, I got it now. That's what I missed.
No problem. So you can put not completed, save, you know, half of this data that you collected, come back tomorrow and complete the rest. But if you want to close the work order, the tasks must be completed. I can assign a different internal staff person to the task, but somebody else to complete the work order, or a vendor that's going to do the work order, or another vendor, like maybe Home Depot, is going to get assigned to the task. So you can, a lot of options there. Now here's the details that I created when I built this roof inspection report. When I add it to any work order or PM, I want to know, is there debris on the roof? And I'll just put no. The attic is still a floor. Now, we're not going to complete all this today. We don't have time, but the type of tasks and digital and print you can create are obviously letters, words, numbers, dates. So an inspection date, hey, when did you do it? Well, actually, it was on Monday. Dates with time, or checkboxes. So there's 5 options to select from. You just define the task. So whether it's a housekeeping item or, you know, a to-do list every week, whatever you want, just create it as a task. Once you have it, it's done. Now, we don't have time to complete all these, so I'll just take that one off. Now, we do have a full parts inventory, full part management system. It was created in conjunction and partnership with University of Florida's warehouse manager. So they, our old one was okay, I would say, but we added the parts transfer and a whole bunch of details when you're managing your parts.
Sure.
So you can add a new part right within this work order. So you went to Home Depot.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, you went to Home Depot, you bought a part, duct tape, create the part for your inventory, or 1,000 rolls of duct tape, or just add a part from your inventory. So I've got some parts here. They're just dummy database parts here. So I'll just add a test part, a couple of test parts there. So what I'm doing now is I've added some parts from my inventory. So this part is in a warehouse plus on the bin. The bin is in a mobile truck. We have 7 of them. We will, the staff now has an option on the printout or the mobile app, GoMax, to put in how many they use. We'll come back to that in a minute. Here's your staff portal here, assignment. I'm going to assign Maxwell, maintenance, and Jimmy. So these people have an hourly rate only because and I can see that because I'm the administrator. I would put in how many, as a staff person on the mobile app or desktop, I can put in my hours and minutes. We will capture the total hours on site, plus allow you to create your labor cost reports, right? 16 minus 1 hour, $16 labor cost. We also have something called active weekly hours. So in your company preferences, under, where is it here? Preferences. There's a lot of preferences. You can set a trigger to say that Jimmy can only work 30 hours a week. So once his active hours here are like 20, you can set a percentage of when you want a trigger to be sent to you or all the company admins. You can say at 90% every week. If he's nearing that, I want to be notified. Now I'm not sure with volunteers and 3 to 4 part-timers if that's any relevant to you, but
that's very relevant actually.
Oh, excellent.
Very relevant.
Fantastic. So this module was requested about 5 years ago from the state of Arizona. So all public buildings in the state are on Maxpanda. That's one of our largest clients next to University of Florida. They need to track, because on a Thursday, they know they only have another day for their team, right? They don't want to be hitting overtime. So if Jimmy is right now at 30 or 20 or 38 hours, they know I'm not going to give him a 7-hour PM because he's going to get overtime. So if it's relevant, fantastic, it's included. You went to Home Depot and bought something. Well, we haven't created any invoices yet. We'll add one after we approve it. So right now we assigned it to 3 of your part-timers and a vendor that's going to be looking at this item. Now, work order attachments, nobody took a picture or added any docs. They would be here. Company attachments, these locations or equipment that we selected don't have anything pre-set up in the database. So at this point, I'm ready to approve the work order. Okay, so
could you add, I mean, is there a chance that there could be something in there that would say expected time or approved time for this task is 1 hour?
You would put that in the notes in the comments or the private notes for sure. I would use clients use the private notes for that when it's what's dealt for directness or things like that, or private sensitive info. So 2 things occurred now. So number 1 is you'll notice that yellow pending work order, and I'm going to hide my pendings now. We don't care to see them anymore. My pending work order is a green work order. Green means go, work should be started. Everybody assigned to this work order received an email, a push alert, and a vibration, on their mobile app.
Right.
You know where it is exactly, room 202. We will edit this work order now, and I will pretend I'm Dale. You'll notice there's more status options now. So you could put this work order on hold. We will capture how long it was on hold. For example, you need duct, or you need to buy a new lock. So that's not going to be, available for another 2 days. So instead of going overdue and getting a bunch of emails, put it on hold. It will be completed overdue though, because you have passed the 1 day due date. When you get the lock, put it back to in progress. Now your staff cannot see this button on the mobile or desktop, or this button. That's only for, because I'm the company admin right now.
Sure.
So only they can do that. Their job is they're going to see this. They're going to have to click this button, or if you're printing work orders, just bring it back circled, complete it, and turn it to orange. Again, emails go out, the colors, the status changes. It's now up to a supervisor, editor, admin to close off that work order. Before we actually close it, we'll pretend it's orange. One of your staff did it, and they put in replace lock. And we'll go down here. The vendor didn't do it. We'll just pretend somebody else did. So the task, we do have some tasks here. I'll open the full checklist. I don't know how long it is. It's quite comprehensive, so I'm not going to fill it out. I am going to delete it, so forget the tasks. Parts, we'll just say you did have a lock in storage, so I used one part from my warehouse inventory. Now, do you have a warehouse with a bunch of parts managed, or is it as you need parts, you go and purchase for facility?
A little of both. A little of both.
Excellent.
We do have some parts, but not many on hand.
That's good news, because that'll let you get started slowly. Eventually, you can start managing your entire inventory through Maxpanda. Moving on down, our staff, it took Jimmy 2 hours and 15 to replace this, 9 hours and 15, and this one, Maxwell, maybe 15 minutes. He just came to say hello. Invoice, invoice, you know what? You went to Home Depot, you bought a new lock and with key system for $94. So I will add an external invoice here. I can create a new invoice right on the fly here. That could be the vendor invoice. Right now I did this one yesterday, and it's in your invoice database there. Attachments, again, no attachments. At this point, you're done. We'll pretend it was orange, it was completed. We'll just close it off. So you can put a note here, great job, or leave it blank. We keep the history, the status history of all work orders, all PMs, all metering types, and a footprint of who's doing what in the system. So I simply do that. Now, Ben, what I just showed you today is all doable, all managed on our mobile app. Okay, so whether you want to purchase 2 or 3 tablets for your teams, or 1 tablet, or let them use the Wi-Fi access and download our free mobile app, go ahead. Everything you saw, what we did today, those day-to-day fires, all managed on mobiles. Any question on the day-to-day work orders that come in?
No, not just yet.
Okay. So the difference between those.
There is one.
Oh yeah, go.
There's one thing that I thought about when it generates the invoices.
Yeah.
How do we set up who receives those?
What do you mean?
Or is that in the I thought maybe I misheard, but I thought when you generated an invoice, it sent the invoice to say Home Depot or to finance or someone like that to know that would be a payable, or did I misunderstand that?
No, oh yeah, well finance would be one of your users here, and typically they would be they would be a supervisor, editor, or administrator, because you want to give them access to financial data. So for example, closed work order, well, completed. Excuse me. So if I'm going to open up a work order that has an invoice there, I sped this up a lot today because I didn't have time to actually create a new invoice from scratch. But if I can create one right now here.
Okay.
Yeah. So Acme Electric, they or charge me, invoice number, any files you want to attach, and this is typically maybe a picture of the actual physical invoice if you want. We need these amounts if you're wanting to capture costs to that piece of equipment, because that cabinet could be an asset in your registry, right? So you could create a new one, or you could have, I created a whole bunch before, right? So I just added that $94 one. So the status now, like your category, you notice I have one that says ready to invoice. So before you closed it, I never changed it. I kept it as, I believe, what did we have? General? No, we had repair. What our clients do is they also use the category ready to invoice and then close it off, or save it completed ready to invoice. So when you're when the finance team logs on in the morning, they can, oops, where am I going? They go to the view all screen and they can filter ready for invoicing. Like, is there any work orders that are ready to invoice? Nothing right now. So I rarely change that. That's why.
Okay.
All right. So the difference between those daily work orders and a PM is our PMs, we have 5 different pages. We've got boilerplates. It's a scratch pad where you could develop your own and just think about, you know, collecting data. And once you like one of your boilerplates, you can make them into a template. The templates are shareable between site to site, so every site doesn't have to create their own. The template also can be imported into different sites, but I'll just skip all this and we'll go to an active PM. Now, I have 12 PMs that are generating work orders, and this one, these ones show you which ones are active. This is a good one here, the Ream HVAC inspection. So a PM is only 5 accordions. The first part is the detail of the PM, work category, 5 days. So I'm giving 5 days to the vendor or the internal team that is going to be completing this work order. On day 6, obviously it's red status, emails go out, I get notified. I can pause the work orders from generating, continue on. The notes are, this is basically copied from the O&M manual, but instead of writing it all out from Ream's website, you could just simply upload the manual, right? So if I upload it to the PM, it would be here. So as you can see, I have a PDF file. It's a procedure diagram, how to change the filter in this HVAC unit. All these will always appear. All this information will appear every work order that it generates. So
can we attach like a link to a video?
Oh yes, I'll show you that in 30 seconds. And we have, web links to everything. So down here is the details of the work order, what piece of equipment. And you can have lots of different equipment assigned to one PM. You can auto assign your PMs to staff. So Maxwell and Steve are auto assigned to this PM for every work order that it generates, or the vendor. So Home Depot, john@homedepot.com. Now here's the schedule system. It's Outlook calendar, so you're very familiar with it. A PM for a filter change should be monthly, or actually every 3 months. I wanted to generate the first Monday of every 3 months, no end date. So it'll go on forever. Or if you have a year contract, you can times 4. 4 work orders times 3, 12, 12 months, right? So
okay, sure.
Do that. You could pre-assign tasks. So just because I'm doing filter changes to the assigning them, I still want extra things done in the task department. Attachments, we looked at that. Every PM you create, you have the history of every work order it generated within the actual PM. So this PM, which is the HVAC inspection PM, I can now go back in history. I can go back last year, April 14 or 2015, and edit the actual work order, inspect what we did, who worked on it, costs, etc. Here we'll also see the future stuff. So this PM, I can see all the way till October of this year. It has a monthly schedule scheduled on it. Questions on the PM?
For example, let's say that the filter, we change it every 3 months. I'm late a month.
It'll be overdue.
Will that date float?
No, it won't float. 3 months after the initial generated date, you'll get another work order. So
okay.
Yeah. But you can always
2 months filter, and then it'll go back to 3 months.
exactly. But we allow you to change change this, right? So if that's not working for you, you could always change the permutation, the schedule system here.
Okay.
All right. Because you asked something about the equipment links, I'm going to look at my equipment list right now, and these are this site only has 21 pieces of equipment, and there's that air handler unit that we looked at today. So to create a PM on a piece of equipment, obviously you need the equipment in there. So let's edit this one. But before we do, you'll notice some of my equipment have meter running on them. So when you add a meter, so this fridge or whatever it is, this fridge has actually a meter running, and that could be maybe every 1,000 hours generate a work order on this fridge. Also, it has a PM, maybe every 3 months generate a work order. Now let's look at this HVAC unit because you asked about the links. So this is one piece of equipment. Equipment and parts look the same. They got 7 accordions. Details, any parts assigned to the asset. So you can auto assign, let's say, a hard drive to the laptop, filter to the HVAC. So they'll always be available for consumption. This one has no metering right now, but the details. Here's a piece of equipment. You can, if you bookmark it, it goes into a special link in GoMax in our mobile app because I'm always the guy that works on this equipment. So why not? I don't care to see 5,000 pieces of equipment. I just want to see my own 10 or 20. A lot of information here. The asset tag does get imprinted in the QR code as well as the barcoding if it's a part. Whatever details you want to put in here. More files at the part level, or sorry, at the asset level. Parts, auto assign. Here's the attachments that will always appear when this piece of equipment has a work order on it, or a PM or meter type. So I uploaded these things here. And as you can see, there's YouTube video and the QR code. Now this QR code cannot be read by any public QR code reader because it is company information. Right? You need our GoMax to scan that. And here's the web links, which I have Ream's website and a how-to video, how to do things. So
the QR codes that are generated are proprietary?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Say that again?
The QR code?
Yeah.
You need a particular reader to read them?
No, it's built into our mobile app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you that at the end of the. Yeah, I'll show you at the end of the presentation. So now reports. We'll just do 1 or 2 reports. Number 1 I like to show is the SLA report, but there are 20, and there 3 are dedicated to parts and inventory alone. Submitter, who's submitting how many work orders every month, year, whatever. Your labor cost, your active labor hours. So how many hours is Jimmy, worked per week? But the SLA report is a good one. It concentrates on the service level agreement we talked about today. All we need is a start date and an end date. So if I want to see all the work orders from April till today, I'll show the header, but I can hide that if you want to import your data, like raw data, into a BI tool or QuickBooks, accounting, etc. Now, all of our reports are downloaded in 5 or 8 formats. The SLA can be downloaded in a CSV, Excel, PDF, PNG file. I just generated a 10-page report. This report, and there's your work order that you requested today. The SLA concentrates mostly on time, okay? Time and cost. So when was it created, approved, start date? Now remember, the due date was in a day, but I moved it. The planned date was actually 3 days from now, but I did escalate it. We did not put it on hold, complete it. We skipped all that, right? We went right to close. Now over here, more information, what all the work order information, but more importantly, how many hours, total hours did we work on this, right? My labor cost, parts cost. So I don't know what we added there. I can't remember. And the invoice, that was the duct tape, and a total. and you'll get the total for every work order conducted in your account through this. And you can save it, print it, do whatever you want. All these reports, same functionality, depending on the data you want. So asset cost, so how much are my equipment costing me? So I can do it by the department, building, asset, individual, like one at a time or all of them. But today what we did focus on is the air conditioner. And let's compare the cost to a couple of the beds that we own. And we'll go from March till today. Doesn't matter, just real quick. So this report, 8 different formats to download, but you can, as you can see, the air conditioner since March till today has had 10 work orders, no PMs on it, and it has cost us $9,000 because we see the total per work order and a grand total. We only bought it for $5,000, so I think it's time to replace it. The beds have not, the beds have had no work orders, so there's no cost to them right now. Any questions? Any reports that you really want to dig deep into?
No, not right now. That looks pretty great. That's good.
Excellent. I'm going to leave the application right now because if we go into the menu, I think I need about another 3 or 4 hours. But yeah, so the company tab is important. It's where the company admin can set up all the different items in Maxpanda. So you're different than a hospital or a law firm, right? So your terminology, your categories are different, priorities, etc. So make it your own. Now,